Industry concerning itself more and more with the safety of the men and women on whom it depends. The records and experiences of many of our industries are becoming increasingly valuable in the formation of standard safety practices that should be made available to all organizations. To encourage this safety thinking of American industry in general, and to encourage American workers to think and practice safety, this picture is offered. All industry is working towards safety records as nearly perfect as possible. Safety records are made and maintained only by teamwork. Teamwork among all the jobs that make up modern industry. So hats off to the safety engineers, to the plant owners, to the foremen whose united effort and foresight have contributed so much. And hats off to the workmen, to the men themselves, who by their own care and thought for safety have made these outstanding safety records possible. 999 consecutive days without an accident is a record for safety any man may well be proud of. And John Jones can take credit for it. What his job is doesn't concern us. It's how he does it that counts. Whether this particular John Jones happens to be a metal worker, a workman in a chemical plant, an electrician, a carpenter, a railroad man, or an automobile worker, doesn't change the fact that John Jones' job requires thinking, safe thinking, every minute of the day. And the logical place for John Jones to start off his day of safe thinking is right in his own home. For safe thinking is just as important in the home as it is in the factory or out on the highway. That toy wagon, for instance, might trip someone. So John Jones suggests that his son put it in a more out of the way, in a safer place. A garden hose cluttering up the walk is another thing that John Jones doesn't take any chances with. By removing it, he may prevent an accident later on. From the time he leaves the house and steps into his automobile in the morning until he returns home at night, John Jones is under the protection of countless safeguards which modern industry has given him. But these safeguards, valuable as they are, aren't worth a thing to him unless he thinks. For that reason, he keeps his mind on what he is doing. Traffic engineers have set up every possible means of ensuring safety on the highways. Traffic lights, safety crossings have been established to aid the motorist to drive safely. But here again, these safety measures are a protection to John Jones or any other motorist only when he thinks safety. In his motor car, he is completely surrounded by features which have been provided for his safety. He rides completely enclosed in a body made of steel. Observation car visibility, with its wider sight lines, permits him to keep constant watch on traffic conditions all around him. But observation car visibility is a help only when he is watching the road and thinking of what he is doing. Uh-oh, here's a motorist who's in a big hurry. Let's see what John Jones thinks about him. And John Jones can't be blamed for that. John Jones is not only a good driver in his car, he is a careful workman on the job as well. He carries his safety thinking right into the shop. In the factory where he works, and in all the factories, there are many safety devices for the protection of the men. But these safety devices, like those of the modern automobile, are effective only when men think safely and use them. For example, Every man knows enough to turn off electrical machinery before trying to repair it. But unlocked switches are too easy for someone else to accidentally turn on. So the careful man, the man who thinks, always ensures his safety by locking the throw-off switch and placing a warning sign in a spot where it can easily be seen. In a paint shop or wherever flammable materials are used, signs such as this mean just what they say. Lack of attention to rules paves the way for needless hazards. It is not rules and regulations alone that make him a safe workman. He protects himself and others by using common sense all the time. If he doesn't take ordinary care when working with a flaming torch, anything can happen. Thoughtless handling of equipment opens the door to danger, and a second invitation is seldom needed. A safe workman knows that when he's not actually working with the torch, the flame should be turned off. Because he thinks about safety every minute, he eliminates danger to himself as well as others. Perhaps the job is on the factory siding, coupling freight cars together. If he becomes incautious, unmindful of what he is doing, a simple job might become a source of danger. So once again, by taking care, thinking before he moves, he avoids exposing himself to dangers and works in safety. Many men handle lines charged with high voltage electric current. A safe job if you don't get careless. Perhaps no one would think of picking up a live wire off the ground. But a thoughtless man might neglect to wear his rubber gloves to pull the transformer disconnect switch before going to work. When thinking safely, he doesn't need anyone to tell him that a bolt of lightning lurks in the switch that energizes the broken wire. Insulated gloves are for his protection, and no carelessness on his part stands in the way of safety. Coming in contact with high voltage is a trap for trouble which the safe worker always avoids. Whether working around airplanes or any type of moving machinery on which safety guards aren't practical, more than ordinary caution should always be observed. Handling an airplane can be as safe as mowing the lawn when instruction and training are kept constantly in mind. But one careless step, thoughtlessly made, and safety hangs by the merest thread. The careful worker knows that no one can do his thinking for him, so he does it himself. In factories and in other places, it is generally the little things that count, things that have to be thought about for safety. Little things such as failing to keep the aisles in a factory cleared can be the cause of trouble. For this reason, one should always be sure the aisles around which he is working are kept cleared of materials, rubbish, or slippery oil. And now, another day ends for all the men who work on thousands of jobs through the nation. For John Jones marks the completion of 1,000 days of safe working, thanks to the safety precautions set up for his protection. But most of all, thanks to John Jones himself for thinking safely.